They told you cheese was the problem. Too fatty, too heavy, something to avoid if you care about your heart and your weight. But what if the right cheeses, used the right way, can actually help you hold on to your strength, your balance, and your independence? Today, we're going to keep this simple. 3 senior-friendly cheeses, the exact portions that make sense, and when to eat them so your muscles get what they need, without blowing your sodium or calorie count. If stairs feel steeper, jars feel tighter, or getting out of a chair takes an extra push from your arms, this is for you. Quick note before we start. This is education, not medical advice. If you live with kidney disease, heart failure, high blood pressure, a dairy allergy, or you've been told to restrict protein or sodium, check with your clinician first. And choose pasteurized cheeses. Let's talk about what's really going on after 60. Muscles lose their easy button. Your body still knows how to build, but it needs a louder signal. More high-quality protein, a little more leucine per meal, and better timing. Most of us eat a protein-light breakfast, a light lunch, and then a huge dinner. That pattern feels normal, and it quietly starves your muscles during the day. We're going to flip that. You'll see how tiny, tasty changes, added to what you already eat, can nudge your body back towards strength. The first pick is cottage cheese. It's humble, inexpensive, and a lot smarter than it looks. Cottage cheese is casein-dominant, which means it digests slowly. Think of it as a steady drip of amino acids that keeps your muscles fed for hours. A half cup is a gentle start. A full cup gives you a more serious boost. If you're watching sodium, look for the low-sodium versions. Same protein, less salt. And here's the timing trick almost nobody uses. If you're going to have one bigger serving of cottage cheese, consider the evening. A cup with berries and a sprinkle of cinnamon feels like dessert. And while you sleep, your muscles keep getting what they need. If a full cup feels like too much, split it. Half a cup after an afternoon walk, half a cup before bed. Small, steady. It adds up. If the texture throws you off, blend it for 5 seconds to make it silky. Stir in a spoon of plain yogurt if you want it even smoother. Add a tiny drizzle of honey, or go savory with chopped chives, lemon zest, and black pepper. If cold foods bother your teeth, let it sit at room temperature for 10 minutes before you eat. And if you're not hungry at night, shift that serving earlier. Late afternoon works too. This isn't about perfection. It's about finding a time you'll actually stick with. The second pick is Parmesan, or any of the aged hard cheeses in that family. This one is dense. A little goes a long way. It's also naturally shallow in lactose, which makes it friendlier for a lot of sensitive stomachs. Fresh grated tastes better, stretches further, and helps you use smaller amounts without feeling deprived. Sprinkle an ounce across a bowl of soup, a pan of roasted vegetables, or a plate of whole grain pasta, and you've quietly upgraded the protein. And you've added a leucine top-off that helps a so-so meal cross the threshold your muscles need. The only caution here is salt. Aged cheeses carry more sodium per ounce than the softer options, so think of Parmesan as your booster. 2 or 3 smart shakes to finish a meal, not a thick blanket that covers everything. If you want to make it go even further, buy a small wedge and a fine microplane. The finer the grate, the bigger the flavor per pinch. Keep the rind, drop it into a pot of soup or tomato sauce while it simmers, then fish it out. You'll get deep, cheesy flavor without blowing your portion. If budget is a concern, check the unit price label and buy the smallest block you'll actually use. Parmesan keeps well. Wrap it tight and store it where you'll see it when you open the fridge, because out of sight becomes out of mind very fast. The third pick is ricotta. It's gentle, creamy, and surprisingly useful when chewing or swallowing is a chore. Ricotta leans way rich, which means it digests a bit faster, perfect for breakfast or right after a little activity. Stir a half cup into warm oatmeal for a silky bowl that actually keeps you full. Dollop it on whole grain toast with sliced tomatoes and basil. Blend it into a smoothie if morning appetite runs low. If you're watching your sodium intake, ricotta tends to be kinder than many cheeses, making it a great daily option, and it plays nicely with flavor. Sweet side? Add cinnamon, vanilla, and berries, or a spoon of crushed pineapple for a bright summer bowl. Savory side? Fold in roasted peppers, garlic, and parsley. Spoon it over a baked potato. Tuck it into a warm tortilla with spinach. If you struggle with breakfast, ricotta is a cheat code. Soft, fast, satisfying, and friendly on a sleepy stomach. Now, How do you put all three to work without turning your day into a dairy festival? Start with the big picture. Aim for steady protein, about the same at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so your muscles hear the message 3 times. Think simple swaps and gentle add-ons. Breakfast might be a small bowl of oatmeal with a half cup of ricotta stirred in and a handful of berries on top. That's creamy, warm, easy to chew, and it doesn't taste like health food. If you prefer eggs, fold a spoon or 2 of ricotta into a quick scramble. Fluffier eggs, better protein. At lunch, build whatever you like to eat and finish it with that aged cheese sprinkle. A vegetable soup? Grate a little Parmesan over the bowl and let it melt into the surface. A big salad? Add beans or chicken as your main protein, then use Parmesan the way you'd use croutons. Just enough for flavor and that extra nudge of muscle-friendly amino acids. If a sandwich is your go-to, a light dusting of Parmesan inside a warm veggie panini can be the difference between a carb-heavy lunch and a balanced one. Dinner is the perfect slot for cottage cheese. If you like it savory, fold herbs, lemon zest, and cracked pepper into a half cup and serve it as a side next to roasted chicken or grilled fish. If you prefer a softer bite, spoon cottage cheese over sliced tomatoes with olive oil and basil. It tastes like a caprese that went to the gym. If you're a night snack person, a small bowl of cottage cheese with peaches or pineapple is the calm, steady way to feed your muscles while you sleep. If your appetite is lower at dinner, that's fine. Smaller portion? Same idea. Let's talk portions like real people do. A half cup of ricotta is a good daily driver. A full cup of cottage cheese is a strong anchor when you want an evening push. Parmesan is measured in sprinkles and shaves. A tablespoon here, a light snow over there. You'll be surprised how far a small wedge goes when you grate it fresh. If salt is your concern, choose low-sodium cottage cheese. Stick with part-skim ricotta and treat Parmesan like a seasoning. It's less about perfection and more about making your usual plates work harder for you. If your mouth gets dry, your dentures feel off, or chewing tires you out, these textures help. Ricotta blends smoothly into soups, puddings, and smoothies. Parmesan disappears into warm foods and leaves flavor behind. Cottage cheese can be mashed with fruit for an easy spoonable snack. If swallowing is tricky, blend, mash, or melt. There's no rule that says a grown-up meal has to be tough to chew. When should you eat what? Here's a rhythm that feels good on a typical day. If you move in the morning, even a short walk or a light stretch, make breakfast your first protein ping ricotta in oatmeal, eggs with ricotta folded in, or even a smoothie with a scoop of ricotta and some fruit. Later, if you take a stroll, garden, or run errands in the afternoon, that's a good time to add a small protein top-off, a spoon of cottage cheese, or a yogurt, a handful of nuts, or just make sure your lunch had that Parmesan finish. Evening is when cottage cheese shines, calm, easy, and steady while you rest. You don't need to become the cheese person to make this work. You just need to make your existing meals a little more intentional. If your breakfast has been mostly toast and coffee, add the ricotta. If your lunch has been mostly salad leaves, add beans or chicken, and then finish with a light snowfall of Parmesan. If your dinner has been light because you're tired, let cottage cheese do the heavy lifting. And if you're already on a good routine, you're simply tuning it, like tightening a guitar string so it sounds right again. A word about the scale and your heart. Cheese has a reputation for being salty and fatty. The truth sits in the middle. Some cheeses are high in sodium, some aren't. Some are richer, some are leaner. You get to choose. Low-sodium cottage cheese exists. Read the label. Part-skim ricotta is naturally moderate. Aged hard cheeses are powerful in tiny amounts, so you don't need a pile. If you're managing cholesterol, think about the whole day. Balance your plate with vegetables, beans, whole grains, lean proteins, and use these cheeses as tools, not the centerpiece. Small amounts, on purpose, at the correct times. Now let's make this easier to repeat. Put the cheese where you can see it. Front of the fridge, not buried behind jars. Pre-portion a few half cups of ricotta and cottage cheese into small containers so they're grab and go. Grate a little Parmesan into a tiny jar you can keep at work or in your bag if you eat on the go. If you're cooking for one, buy smaller tubs so nothing goes to waste. If you're on a budget, check for store brands. Often the same protein, lower price. If you're worried about weight, remember this. Protein helps you feel satisfied. A breakfast with ricotta sticks longer than toast alone. A lunch finished with a dusting of Parmesan tastes richer, so you need fewer heavy dressings. A small bowl of cottage cheese at night can calm snack cravings that usually lead to chips or cookies. You're not adding empty calories, you're upgrading what you already eat, so it works for you. Let's connect the food to movement. Food is the message. Movement turns up the volume. If you can, do 2 or 3 short resistance sessions each week. Nothing fancy. Chair stands, wall push-ups, a light band row if you have one. 10 minutes counts. Even 5. When you pair a little effort with steady protein across the day, your body listens. You'll notice it in the small things first. The jar that opens without a second try. The step that doesn't wobble. The walk that ends without that heavy leg feeling. If getting started feels hard, attach your movement to something you already do. Chair stands while the kettle warms. Wall push-ups after you brush your teeth. Band rows during the first commercial break. Then eat your protein within a couple of hours. Think of it like watering a plant after you've loosened the soil. The nutrients sink in better when the ground is ready. Grocery shopping can be simple. Buy ricotta and cottage cheese in containers you'll finish within a week. Keep Parmesan in a small block so you can grate it fresh. Taste before you commit if your market offers samples. Start with smaller amounts if cheese hasn't been in your routine. Let your stomach tell you the pace that works. Hydrate normally. If salt is a concern, put the low-sodium cottage cheese in your cart on purpose and skip the heavily salted snacks that steal your sodium budget without giving you strength back. Storage matters too. Keep the tub sealed tight. Use a clean spoon every time you dip in. No double dipping. If something smells off or looks separated beyond a simple stir, trust your nose and toss it. A little care keeps food safe and pleasant. Safety matters. If you're on warfarin, keep your leafy greens consistent and mention any big changes to your clinician. If you've been told to limit phosphorus or protein, don't climb without guidance. If lactose bothers you, remember, aged hard cheeses are naturally very low in lactose, and some people do better with ricotta than with milk. Test small. See how you feel. Your body will tell you the truth. Let's pull it together so tomorrow doesn't feel abstract. Imagine waking up and knowing exactly what to do. You put on the kettle, you make a small bowl of oatmeal, and you stir in a half cup of ricotta. Breakfast. Done. At lunch, you eat what you enjoy. Soup, salad, a warm sandwich, and you finish it with a light snowfall of Parmesan. Dinner is simple. A half cup of cottage cheese with herbs sits next to whatever you're serving. If you want a little sweetness after, a few slices of fruit on top feels like a treat. No complicated recipes. No diet rules. Just easy wins that stack. Your next move. Pick 1 cheese to anchor tonight and 1 to anchor tomorrow morning. Put both at eye level in the fridge so you'll actually reach for them. Add 5 minutes of movement today. Sit to stands while the kettle boils. Wall push-ups during a TV break. A short hallway walk. Do it again tomorrow. In about 2 weeks, you should notice tiny shifts. Grip feels steadier. Stairs feel less dramatic. That first stand from the couch takes less effort. Keep going. When you're ready, add a small challenge. 1 extra rep, or an additional tablespoon of ricotta at breakfast, or an extra sprinkle of Parmesan at lunch when your salad looks skimpy. Small steps. Repeated steps. That's how strength returns. I'll leave you with this. Your muscles are not done. They're waiting for better instructions. Food is one instruction. Movement is another. Sleep is the third. The right cheeses, used thoughtfully, fit into a day that supports you instead of draining you. If you've been afraid of cheese, let the numbers guide you, not the noise. If you've been skipping breakfast, let ricotta make it easy. If you've been light at lunch, let Parmesan help. If nights are your calm, let cottage cheese do what it does best while you rest. I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? And how old are you? Which of the 3 cheeses feels most realistic for you this week? And what will you pair it with? If you have a favorite way to make these easy, your own ricotta oatmeal, your go-to salad with that little cheese finish, drop it in the comments so another senior can borrow your idea. And if this helped, tap subscribe so you don't miss the following simple, senior-friendly strategy. You're not too old to get stronger. You just need a plan you'll actually use. And now you have one.